All right. Oh, what you drinking there, Tim?
Little coffee.
A little cup of Joe. You know what I've been drinking lately?
Tell me.
Broth. Bone broth. Say that right. Bone broth. Chicken bone broth and beef bone broth. It's amazing. It's like it's replaced my coffee in the morning.
And you just do it at home?
Yeah. Well, I mean, where else do you do it?
I don't know. Being in Tennessee, you could probably buy anything. Who knows?
I just go to the chicken and say, excuse me, why did the chicken cross the road? Because he wanted to give broth to Derek. That doesn't, whatever. See, this goes right back to a deer headlights jumping a curb.
No, we need to talk about something. We need to talk about an event. Talk to me about it.
Let's talk about how you and I got here and were able to do a podcast, because we did all these things and we went to these quarterly events, and there's an amazing quarterly event coming up in Dallas. You know what's going to happen in Dallas? You're going to get clear on where your business is actually leaking money. Tim, do we know about leaks?
We know about leaks being pond guys.
And money. Well, that's been a thing in the past. And why revenue hasn't turned into freedom yet.
Most contractors think nothing's broken because the phone still rings and jobs keep selling. That is a lie. What's broken is this. You don't actually know your numbers. You hope that they're good. You assume you're making money, or you react instead of decide. Fighters, that is not ownership, that's gambling. When you don't command your numbers, you don't have choices. You can't slow down, you can't say no, you can't step away. You just keep working because you have to. March 12th and 13th, I'm bringing 110 serious contractors together in Dallas for Freedom Forge. This is where we fix this stuff. We're dialing in real margins, setting pricing that actually protects you, and helping you build the systems so you're deciding what happens next, not your bank account. No fluff, no motivation, just clarity, control, and numbers that you can trust. So if your business owns your time and your stress, this is where you take your life back. Got 110 spots, one room, no excuses. Go to thecontractorfight.com/forge, F-O-R-G-E, for all of you that don't know how to spell, and claim your ticket now. I'll see you in the Forge. I'm out.
When they go to Freedom Forged and
that's the name of it, right? It's a quarterly event. Yep, quarterly event in Texas, Freedom Forge.
Yep, love it. And so they're going to learn some stuff. What are they going to learn about, Tim?
Let's see. We're gonna get clear on where your business actually is, right? Where it's leaking money and why revenue hasn't turned into freedom yet. Because like you said, leaks, man, you can make a lot of money coming in the front door and it's going right out the back. You don't even know it. So with that, Derek, tell me a little bit more about that, because Tom's probably going to cut in a minute and he's going to have his recording about you got to join Freedom Forge. So give us a chance at it.
I love that. And so these quarterly events, each quarterly event has a specific topic that that's going to be about. And this one, we love this one. It's all about money. This whole event for the 2 or 3 days that you're there, it's going to be just talking about money, how to protect your margins, pay yourself like an owner, stop working for the business. It's everything to do with money. If you don't understand how to job cost, and you don't understand how your numbers work in your business, and you don't know if you're making money or not, that's where you're going to get all this information in a very focused group, like focused as you can possibly be. And you're going to walk away like, well, tell them, what are they going to leave with? It's a plan. What are they going to leave with?
Yeah. You're going to learn how to protect your margins. You're going to learn how to pay yourself like an owner, which most of us don't. I'm going to stop working for the business. And I really stress that word for, and not have the business own us. So with this, you'll be leaving with a 90-day execution plan, and lock in with accountability while you're there in the room. And if you're busy, growing and tired of working harder without the payoff, this is where you need to be there to fix that.
So what's something like that cost? Because everybody wants to know. Like we can talk about this and build it up, but it's numbers, right? What's it going to cost?
Yeah, there's actually 3 or 4 costs. One is it's if you're a Battleground member, with your paying member, the cost of that is $297, and there's a code to get that savings, which I'm not going to say here because not everybody's a Battleground member. Listen.
Get in Battleground, save some money.
Right. But if you are a Battleground member, it's $297 for the event, plus, the hotel and airfare, however you get there, maybe you drive there. And if you are a Battleground member, you get that code. But if you're a black belt, which means you already achieved that black belt in the FU, the cost for that is actually a goose egg. It's nothing, costs you nothing at all. For people, and we're talking about before March 6th, you need to register. The price for a non-member is $497. And the people that are going to be there, let me give you a kind of a highlight. And you guys heard him on multiple podcasts in the past. One would be Tom Reber, right? Tom's going to be there. He's going to be teaching this. with his man, this guy. Why don't you talk about Steve?
Steve has changed our lives, and this is I don't know, guys. I mean, this could be the last. I thought the last event was the last event for Tom to be at. I'm sorry, for Steve to be at, and then Steve's coming back for maybe an encore. I mean, this may be the last opportunity that you get to get in the room with Steve Shinholzer in a small group setting, and talk about knowing your numbers. That dude knows his numbers, and it's amazing how so many people will make excuses. Tim, I remember there was an opportunity many, many years ago that Steve was going to see his son Logan at a diving competition, and it was in Atlanta. And Steve threw it out there, said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Atlanta. I'm going to have lunch here. If anybody wants to come and hang out with me, come and hang out with me." And it's about a 4-hour drive for me. I didn't even hesitate. I just got in my car and took off. And actually, my foreman Travis went with me at the time. I was like, "Yeah, I'll go there." And we take a 4-hour drive. And we hang out with Steve for like 2 hours, and just sitting at the table with like maybe 5 or 6 other individuals. And that, in many other instances, when I got around him, which is the same as getting around other FWs, getting around the other coaches in the group, getting around Tom, getting around Tim, getting around myself, like people that are already doing this stuff like that. And when you go to these quarterly events, you're going to sit at a table with them at lunch, at a cup of coffee, at a hike. Like, you're going to get, that's the thing. It's when you're in these larger groups, sometimes you can feel a little lost and overwhelmed and, unseen sometimes. It doesn't happen in Battleground, and it never happens at our events, but you're going to get a chance to hang out with him. And just like I got to do in Atlanta several years ago. And the quick story, Tim, and I know I've told this before, is I told the waitress, I said, "Hey, I want to get Steve's bill." I didn't have much money. But I was going to pay for his lunch. And Steve looked over and said, "Derek, you paying lunch for everybody?" And I was so embarrassed. I was like, "No, sir, I can't pay for everybody. But out of respect to you inviting me here, I'm going to pay for your lunch." But I remember being so embarrassed that I could not buy lunch for everybody. Tim, how cool is it when all of us coaches get together and all these FWs get together and we go to dinner? Man, not only do we pay for dinner, or one person will pay for dinner, everybody else reaches in their pockets and grabs a couple $100, and there's 10 of us at the table. So all of a sudden, the server gets like a $2,000 tip because we can all afford it, because we've done the things that Steve and Tom and the other coaches have taught us. And this is why you got to get to Freedom Forge. Quit making up excuses and quit making up reasons and justifying why you're just too busy to be a millionaire.
No, yeah, I totally get it. One thing, there's a couple of things we left out, Derek, which is really important, is the dates. Do you know the dates? If you don't, I think I know them.
It's March the 12th and 13th.
Yeah, that's 2026. Okay, so you have until the 6th to commit to that. After that, the price goes up, I think.
Yep, 19th.
Yeah, it's going to go up considerably. So how do you get there? You get the link in front of you?
I do not have the link in front of me here.
HGTPS. So it's go.thecontractorfight.com/forge, FORGE. And you'll get to see all the ins and outs, who's speaking, what Tom's going to be talking about, Steve's going to be talking about the event, where we're going to have it, the restaurant, stuff like that. And why are we talking about it so much? Because, like Derek said, it's the events like this, these intimate events, and it is intimate. It's closed off to under, I think it's 100 or 110 people. That's it. And you and I have our own event in Nashville every year, and we fill that up.
And that's a sales event, right? Like that's where these quarterly events are so important. This one's going to be about numbers in March. Ours will be about sales. And I'm not sure what the other two events will as they progress, but that's why we're focusing on very specific, like when you talk about getting clear. And of course, all business will be talked about outside of, on the truth hike or sitting at a table, all of that. But it's a focused intensity on numbers.
Right. So again, quarterly events. There'll be 4. This is the first of 2026. There'll be 3 others, but Steve and Tom will be presenting at these 2. The other events will be a bit different. It's definitely, it's a, if you go, I promise you'll walk out of there with a better version of yourself. And if you don't, then that's 100% on you. The information's there. You're being around people who are doing it, and you don't have to be, you don't have to be successful to go to these things. People who are, that I've seen, you and I have seen, that people are just like stuck. They're just like, for some reason, they just can't get past whatever they got to get. They can't get past to hold on to enough money. And the fix is usually pretty super simple.
So speaking of money, I just met with my financial advisor this morning. I had my 6-month call. And I would not, what a wonderful call. Oh man, I so look forward to that call every 6 months, because I get to see, she breaks down the numbers perfectly, like how I'm investing, what I'm invested in, and what it's going to do, and what the picture looks like. And if I need to add a little here, take a little away here, and like the Charles Schwab account and the Fannie Mae account, like I would have never known about any of that stuff if it wasn't talking to the right person, specifically Steve, about money when we sat in his garage that time and talking about investing. I get to look and see where I'm at. I see where my end game is. I know what my net worth is, and I know how much I have in like my savings and what my Roth IRA is doing, and how I've invested in S&P 500 and how much gold I have. I actually didn't know I had gold. Found out that today, so that's pretty cool. But my financial advisor handles that stuff. But the reason I'm sharing this is because you said you have to show up and you have to do it. I could be that same person not going to an event, and I could also be that same person that didn't finally find someone that turned me on to a financial advisor that I could trust. And I just, you know what I'm doing, Tim? I'm just doing what she says to do. She says, put this money here. So I'll get an email later this afternoon, because I got to sign off on a couple of things so they can transfer the money from my Schwab account to another account to put it in the right place. And all I'm doing is what she said to do. So when you go to these events, just like you said, Tim, it's on you if you don't do it. Just do what we're saying. Just get out of your own way, get out of your head. But that has everything to do with business. I look at it as it's like it's an investing muscle. At first it was weird. And I felt very uncomfortable putting a certain amount of money away, because I was so scared if I took that money out of the account, I was going to be broke. But after repetition, of course I do direct withdrawal, and I see it, and I look at it. I look at my bank account every day. I used to not look at my bank account because I was scared to look at it because there was nothing there. But I look at it every morning. It's part of my process. And that financial muscle of repetition has created my day of freedom. Now, in order for me to do that, I still have to show up, and I have to make sales calls, and I have to go do consultations, and I have to show up for my team. I still have to do all the things, but it's fun. Once you start seeing the money, and that's what you're going to learn at Freedom Forge, is how to focus on your money and look at job costing and look at how your money and what gross is, and really what net profit is. You know, net profit is when you take your salary, you take your cost of goods, you take everything, you put everything in there, and that's what the net's going to be. And you're going to learn how to focus on to like truly not just go, oh, at the end of the year, cool, my net profit is 10%. How about if you focused on it, you really knew what it was going to be, and your net profit was 25% or 30%, and you could project that and plan on that.
Plan on it. Yeah, plan on it. So you're not surprised. Totally. Well, Derek, we spent quite a few minutes here talking about the Freedom Forge, and because it's important, right? Let's see if Tom even has to submit or interject his little ad in there about it. But I don't think so. I think we just got this one. So guys, if you show up, I promise you're going to walk away differently.
Yeah.
So this is a sales podcast, Derek. Can we talk a little bit about sales right now?
Yeah. What's on your mind?
I'd like to talk about sticker shock. You know, and that's a real thing for the tradespeople who are afraid of putting the price out there. With the thought of this customer's going to lose his shit. He's going to hang up the phone. He's going to yell at him. He's going to kick me out of his space. And I want to talk a little bit about how to pre-frame pricing before this is even an issue. And it's something that we call like we can talk about bracketing, we can talk about vanguarding, we can talk about asking the right questions to see how much money they're willing to spend in a tactful way without saying, hey, how much money do you have in the bank account? Which is it's ludicrous to think you can do that. But there's a lot of ways around it. It's not like snaky or like sales snaky. There's a lot of ways of asking it. And sometimes when I'm talking to people, I ask them, you know, is there a budget I need to be sensitive to? Or in your case, you'll throw a high anchor out there or kind of fish around of good, better, or best type of thing.
I did it. I'm looking at an approval right now from a customer as we're talking about this. She needs some cleanup done because we've had all these storms and all the ice and stuff, and was going over it. And I told her it was going to be $7,000, and she thought that was too much. We had a little more conversation, got creative. I said, well, okay, 7,000 is a lot. Now 7,000 covers everything. We're hauling all the material off. We're paying dump fees. We're doing all of that. But for $5,000, if we can leave it on site and the municipality will come pick it up. Like, could we leave it on the road? She said, oh gosh, the neighbors all over the street. Like they're making piles everywhere. So I said, well, that'll save you a couple of grand if we don't have to run up and down the road and pay dump fees. So instead of 7, but I'm not negotiating. I told her, it's like, I'm not negotiating on my price. So don't feel like I was charging you too much in the first place. We're being creative here. So if I don't have to haul the stuff off and pay dump fees, because dump fees are crazy around here right now, unless you've got some land, and that doesn't happen anymore. Like, you have to take it to a place or we get a dumpster. Save yourself $2,000. So she literally just said, hey, can I pay you on the 11th and the 13th of February unless I receive insurance sooner? Is that acceptable? I said, yes, of course.
Beautiful. And, so getting in front of it, Derek, and that's like really creative right there. Because sometimes you're not gonna drop your price, but you can descope it. There's a lot of ways around it, and that was a very simple, creative way. Because you're thinking along with them as working along like a partner. Not a guy trying to hurt them. You're trying to help them, and plus, your quality of your job, whatever you're going to do, is going to be better than somebody else's. So pre-framing it, Derek. Talk to me about pre-framing it before you're price dropping on somebody. How do you get into where you're going to drop a big number on them, and you're trying to make them emotionally prepared for that? How do you do that?
Obviously going through the motive, right? Understanding what's going on. And then as far as the framing goes, if you're sharing what I think you're sharing, is I set it up like, hey, this is the number I'm about to share with you is going to be, okay, hang on. Let me go back to how I framed that. I said, I acknowledge, because this was a text back and forth. And I said, good, considering when these things happen, it sucks. And it's nice that you know that you can get some insurance coverage, because I asked her. And I said, let me check with the team. And I said, Tamara, you're not going to like this.
In text?
Yeah, in text. Yeah, we weren't able to. This was late last night when she reached out about this. So, and then she said, what do you mean? Like, you're referring to the invoice? Which will be the quote, because I told her, an even estimated price. And I said, yeah, the invoice. And then she's like, would you just tell me, please? I was like, you're not going to like it. This is not good. She's like, Derek, stop it. In STAPT, big caps. Stop it.
That's Nashville.
Yeah. And I said, yeah, it's going to be $7,000. She said, you're right. That is a lot. And I let it go until 9:00 this morning. Then we picked the conversation. That was 9 PM last night. So, and we picked it back up today. So yeah, you set it up, you make it sound so much worse than it is. And like, they're not like, oh my God, you're going to be so uncomfortable and you're going to hate me. And this is going to be the worst thing you ever heard. And I realize this. And a lot of people that aren't familiar with the FOO or learning the FOO in the beginning, they think that this could be, off-putting and sound a little corny to people. And sure, it does, because that's not what you normally, it's not what you normally do. But what did Steve always say? What's his definition of sales?
I don't know, Derek. I could probably think hard of it, but I know you're trying to pull something out of me.
It's a Broadway play performed by a psychiatrist.
Truly is. And
so that's the psychology of stuff. If you make it sound so much crazier and more grandiose and scarier than it is, because what if she was thinking 10 and I said 7, but 7 was too much, but 5 was okay. But if I don't drop that high anchor like I like to do, and I'm still bracketing, like I still am, I'm going to put the 5 in there if I need to, but this is the reason I do this, because if I say 7, they may just be okay with it. I don't need to say the lower number. But if they're not okay with 7, then I go, okay, I need to drop my lower bracket so that they can think about it. And she has to get with her significant other and talk about it. So they most likely did in the time span from 9 last night to 9 this morning. So that's how I frame it.
Yeah. People deserve to know, be emotionally prepared. Mm-hmm. Usually people, if they haven't done any research, seen the prices on websites or done shopping around, have no idea what some things cost. They may be living, 20 years in the past because that's what they paid 20 years ago for it. So even if you're building a house in addition, I just can't believe some of the prices that kitchen renovations are getting and bathrooms.
Unbelievable. Spend whatever you want.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, And I remember, having a bathroom done over was, $15,000 is like, that's a thing of the past. That's just, you can't do that anymore. And the same thing for our pond prices, our water features. They're just ridiculously priced. It's like, because that's what things cost. I can't change that.
Well, it's what it costs, because that's the type of money that you want to make, and you're going to provide the value of that installation and that experience, and you understand what it is to have a beautiful water feature installed. Once you get over the sticker shock, once you get over the price and you got to move the run, that's years and years and years of value that you're getting out of it because of pleasure with the grandkids and the kids and entertaining. So when you can help paint that picture for the person and that's where that happens in the motive. You have to create that feeling in the motive why this is so important. And case in point, a tankless water heater. I've considered doing a tankless water heater here. I've been here over 2 years now, and it's like $5,000 to have it put in. And it's so funny. Like I'll spend 50 on something else and won't even think twice about it. But for some reason, I've just been in my head about this $5,000, and it's like doesn't make any sense to me. And it's like the water heater I got's fine. Just don't run the water pressure too high. Boys, cut it off. And my daughter's here. Hey, don't take such a long. Stage it out. That's the way I grew up. Like you don't take showers back to back. Somebody takes one in the morning. Someone takes it at night. But this ice storm. If I would have had a tankless water heater, I would have had hot water, even though my power was out, because I could have plugged in my little battery thing that I had, and it would operate the pilot light, and I would have had hot water because it's gas. So, do you think I'm going to spend $5,000 on a tankless water heater now?
I'll show you're not the only one.
It's but see, that's the thing. I'm highly motivated, and I got the quote from the same person 2 years ago. Who do you think I'm calling? Same person I got the quote from. Not only that, I called him, and it was $4,500. Now it's $5,000.
Yeah, that's the truth. So, the pre-framing pricing all happens back in the motive. When you're understanding what the need is, you're peeling back the onion, you're getting the reasons, you're building the vision of what it is. And there's a lot of ways to pre-bracket, to pre-frame this before. And it's like the Vanguard. So I'm going to set that up. So in a minute, I'm going to tell you, you created this crazy picture of what you want here. And I have to drop a number on you. And it's probably going to be like shocking to you. Because, when's the last time you had a project done? Oh, we did this 20 years ago. Yeah. And I'm just going to drop a number on you. I just don't want you freaking out, hanging up and like grabbing your chest and falling over. And I'll drop it. If it's a big number, I'll drop it. And then I'll STF you. And for people listening, don't know what that is give them the space to breathe and think about it.
Don't wear that shirt out in public. I'm just saying. No,
the people know what that is. And I didn't think so. And you and I both thought it was like a Contractor Fight thing, but it's a world thing.
It's a world thing.
But, even my son and I were at a consult and we dropped a number on somebody. I told him, you're probably going to grab your chest. This is a big number, and they just dropped it and shut up and let them digest it. Because they may be thinking, you and I or a contractor may be thinking like, this guy's just like freaking just thinking about what he's going to say next, or he's going to tell us he doesn't have the money or whatever. And then in their mind, they're thinking, see, if I transfer money out of that account or I borrow from home equity, if I got a bonus check coming in, they're thinking about all these things, but nothing that we're thinking of. So just give them the space.
You're making up a story in your head, and there's another person on the other end of the line that's having a different conversation that you don't even know about. I sold a $20,000 landscape and little Foundscape install. And I told her, based on projects in the past, we've had similar projects just like this, a couple of variances, but just like this, $20,000 and a shut up. And she said, that sounds reasonable. So what do? I mirror and go, reasonable? Little flex in the voice, little question there. She said, yeah. I said, okay, what would you like to do next? She said, well, what are next steps? And collected a deposit. And Jamie, she just sold a job. And I said 7. And she said, so that sounds like 8 to me. And I was like, all right, go for it. If it sounds like 8, go for it. And she called her up and said, that's what I thought it was going to cost. And she's dropping a check off today. So these conversations we drop, we don't know, because what are we doing? We're putting value on that. Would I pay $20,000 for a landscape? It's only if it's ends up being $50,000 in my own yard.
I think contractors get stuck in their own head is like that. Their buying habits don't necessarily reflect on their selling habits. What you may not see value in, it doesn't matter. Right? So I may not say I would own $100,000 pond. I may not think that, but it's I'm not the one buying it. They are. And for their reasons, they will buy it. And once you peel that back and find out what their reasons are and how you can create a better lifestyle living for them, it's the value they put on it. And you and I, spreadsheets, labor, materials, that's what it costs.
Number's a number. Just it's, if you know your numbers, you look at it and go, that's just what it is. The numbers. And I don't want to gloss past this because you said, don't sell like you buy. Now that can go two ways. If you're very frugal and you don't like to spend a bunch of money, you definitely don't want to sell like you buy because you're not going to charge enough. Now, you might be like myself, and I grew up with two different dynamics in my family. My mom always really liked nice stuff. My grandmother always really liked nice stuff. So I never had this taboo of money. Now, we didn't have much, but my parents never said we couldn't afford it. They would just say, we're not going to buy that right now. So I've got this really, really positive relationship around money. So when I sell, and I do like to buy nice shit, when I do sell, I sell like I buy. So make sure, as you said that, Tim, that you're thinking about it. If you're frugal, be mindful on how you're selling, because you'll undersell yourself or sell yourself short. And if you really like nice things, you can just sell that way anyway, and you won't think anything about it.
Right. But you mean, I don't disagree with you at all. You are the minority, dude. I'm telling you.
Oh, I know. I'm very, very lucky. I know I'm lucky on that.
Yeah. So you're not afraid to drop the number because you just you must be like me, because I like nice things, and not everybody's there yet. But most of the time, people, they tell you they want something inexpensive, and they end up spending the world because you just made it possible for them. Whether it's your vision you're creating for them, or it just made them realize how important it was, and they would be willing to sacrifice vacations or buying a new car right now or doing something else. They'd rather have what you have that you're offering for their own reason. Not
to be confused with, I grew up super poor. Like, we didn't have any money. Like, it wasn't like my parents were just buying stuff left and right. They just liked nice things, and they knew if they did certain things to get there, they could do it. So I don't want to confuse that with like no golden egg, no horseshoe, none of that.
Yeah. Hey, this is good stuff, Derek. And I hope there's like a few things. One is I hope people attend the Forge, because I think it's important. Second thing is selling, right? Guys, just fellow contractors, is to not be afraid of telling people the price, but like get in front of it before it becomes a thing, because people deserve to prepare themselves for that price. And tell them, like, this picture you painted for me, what we just went through here is like, recap it and just tell them, it's like, this is incredible. This is going to be a lot of money. I want to tell you how much it is, but I just don't want you freaking out, or just talk the way you would sound right saying it from wherever you're from. Some of the stuff I say, Derek could probably get me shot if I was doing it down in Florida or something, because it's where I live. And it's different coming out of my mouth than most people. So, with that, Derek, I am...
Most things are.
Yeah. With that, I am Tim.
I'm Derek.
And we'll see you all next time.